SOS, he's the best. PvP. Oh yes, yes, yes. My name's Day 9, I'm here to rhyme. It is part 3 of number 659. 652, actually. This is 652nd. Daily here, where we're watching SOS be good. We're going to do this fast because I'm an efficient speaker. Ding! In this game, we're going to see recovery from a bad spot by pulling into the standard play on a map like Yansu. I actually got to pause so I can talk about the standard play. We look at the natural expansion. We'll never really define what standard play is. We need to look at what the third base is up to. Third base has a huge, giant, gaping open hole here. Here's another giant, gaping open hole there. Sure, there's shrubbery, but what's a shrubbery when you have air units, aka an observer, am I right? This is an open space at this third base. You want to wiggle on down here? What about that? Could potentially be considered a third base, except it's so easily Colossusable if it is taken, so it's generally considered a risk. And even if the enemy is not going Colossus and you are, it's kind of a difficult angle to control because of the warp-ins from the back and on the attacks up this side. This is a very big space. I mean, imagine a Colossus trying to wander from here all the way back up here and then back to an attack over there. You just look at the distances and it's hard to deal with a mobile army. Mobile armies are going to rule. How do the mobile armies happen? Guess what? Speeding it up to show you and to talk about it. Here it comes. Once upon a time there was a boy named SOS who spawned at the top right hand corner and rallied out his 8th. What? His 8th probe. I don't believe it. He rallied out his 8th probe, still went for a pylon on 9 because there was something devious in plan for SOS. And it's going to be a gas steal. But when is the best time to steal a gas? When your opponent is guaranteed to be broke. When is he guaranteed to be broke? Right when he has enough to build a gateway. Either LiquidHero blocks this assimilator or throws down a gateway and physically can't block it. Now what's really slick here is that often a player will build a gateway and you'll take one gas and you can even take the second one too, and then he's totally boned. Amanda. Hero does manage to get a single gas of his own. Now, why would you take a double gas to just shut your opponent out of anything reasonable? All the standard plays. But now that he has just one gas, what do you do? The edge that SOS has is in gas. He better do something gas-focused, otherwise it was stupid for him to steal the gas. SOS should want to be ahead in gas. I'm going to repeat that because for some reason people tend not to think about that. If you take his gas geyser, doing a 1 gas expand build as a follow-up, or even a 1 gas 4 gate, is so stupid. I've watched games where I see someone be like, alright, now first I'm going to steal one of his geysers. Yaha, he has taken his gas. He will never suspect a 4 gate. Oh, kill me! I can't even handle it, man. If you're going to put him behind on gas, then you better get ahead on gas. So what build will SOS do? Let's go to the SOS cam to watch it, to think about it, to appreciate it, to diddly dink about it. We're going to see a second gate come down from SOS. Keep in mind his gateways are slightly delayed because he went for a geyser in his opponent's base first. But there's one stalker. There's the warp gate. No Mothership Core coming down because you know what? Wanted to get that stalker out first. There she is. You know what? There's a lot of gas saved up. I wonder what it'll be for. Ooh, it's going to be a double stalker, double chrono boost. Doesn't seem like that's a good plan because how on earth is he going to have enough money to get down the pylon and have enough for additional stalkers? He's not going to go for stalkers. He's going to do something gas-focused. Double sentry. Very slick, lickety-split looking little move coming out of SOS. Is going to be pushing forward and shoving his opponent back, not only to apply pressure, but also to keep Hero on the defensive footing. Allows for the Nexus to go up. Very nice play, very slick move, very cool, bejugular thought process. Put the double pylon up in the main base. Oh no, it's been a recall. There's a single force field going down. And this ain't just a regular 3-gate. Don't hate the 3-gate from LiquidHero. He's going 3-gate with an Oracle. Arrgh! And look at it. It's going to come in and zap with its green laser beams. Alright, let's speed this up. Building as much as he can. Cancels. Gets a cancel there. Oh no. Alack, alas, darn diggity doodah. What doth he do? Twilight Council. This, honestly, I think is one of the least commonly executed plays. To throw down a Twilight Council in a time like this. Because most people value Blink for its speed. I'm going to be harassing. I'm going to put him back so I can get a base up. Or I'm going to move in before when he has only regular stalkers, and that will kill him. Watch what SOS does with these gateway focus openings. He's getting Blink. He's chrono boosting it out. Keeping himself, keeping his opponent pushed back. He'd like to expand. And let me just say that this is, I think, the most intelligent move that you will never see. Thank God for this daily. Watch this move. With just enough money to expand, SOS is going to move down. Because one of two things is true. Either there's no army here and SOS can start up and expand and then have enough defense later. Or Hero has devoted lots of units to the front, and then we just pull back, and we know that our opponent has devoted a lot of money to units. I need to talk about this like so much because this is like so key. In StarCraft 2, you always want to get ahead in money in some way. Just generally speaking, money, resources is the underpinning mechanic going on in the game always. If he builds 2 extra barracks and then the attack doesn't work, he's wasted that money on those barracks. If Hero builds a lot of units at the front, he has wasted money on units that would not be going to probes and expanding. Or would not be going to infrastructure. So, very often in StarCraft 2, because it's a little bit oddly balanced, you should start an expansion when you don't have the defense for it. Isn't that weird? You should start expansions in all matchups, across the board, in all my research, in all matchups, it's correct, generally speaking, to throw down an expansion before you have the defense for it. Because either he doesn't attack, which lets your expansion finish and you get all the value out of it, or he builds lots of units to kill it off, and then all you have to do is cancel it. You lose the 300 for canceling the Nexus. And that's it. And he's lost like 700 in units that he needed to attack that with. So now you have a lead. Isn't that stupid? There it is. So this is one of the most significant things that SOS does. I swear to God, expand before you have the defenses. Now, I'm not saying expand with no defense. I'm saying expand before you have the defense. Blink is the defensive maneuver that lets an expand go up. If I'm attacking him with Blink, where are the other stalkers? Yeah, if I am attacking him with Blink stalkers, he can't attack my base. Therefore, it's defended. So look at that. About 100 and some seconds. I'm not even going to do the math because, hell, who does math nowadays? He's going to throw down the expansion before his Blink is done and then go for it. So, for instance, let me just go through some really fast examples. If you're against a Zerg player and you're going to use Colossus to defend your third, throw down the third Nexus when you start the Robo support facility. And then it'll take a minute to finish, and you'll start chrono boosting a little stalker, or Colossus chrono boosting. This is the chrono boost animation out of my fist, and then it will wander down. And right after your Nexus is done, your Colossus will be done. There it is. What's another one? In PvP, we just saw not enough Colossi to even defend the third. SOS took the third because his Colossus were on the way. against Zerg early game, going for a very fast third with a cannon and a bunch of gateways, because either he floods it and forces a cancel, or right as it finishes, you have a bunch of gateways to defend it with. This is true again and again and again and again in this game. Most oftenly, you'll see Protoss do that maneuver. But yeah, sOs is just building probes because he's going to go economic in a little bit. Look at his money saved up. He would like, very much so, very, very, very much so, oops, to be able to move down his ramp and expand. But I want to note a kind of funky thing that happens here. Hallucinated Oracle walks in, sees the robo facility and the expand. Now let me pull back to this key moment. This is the most important moment in the entire game. When sOs doesn't see anything. Look at that money. I guess I should spend my money, right? Right? Wrong. This is probably one of a 1 in like 30 billion chance that it is correct to just save up the money. sOs doesn't want a lot of stalkers. They're not going to do anything. He sees Hero is going for late game. There's the robo being chrono boosted. That's got to be an immortal. Or it's got to be an observer. Both of those are very late game choices. We don't see any Twilight Council. We already see the Stargate. There's no way he can afford all those tech paths. So what does sOs do? He starts his late game structures. Not stalkers. He starts a forge and a robo. Not stalkers. He starts a forge and a robo. What the hell? No stalkers coming out. And here's the Nexus going down. No additional stalkers have been built beyond the initial 6. Now let's talk about some schwanky moves. How's sOs going to get ahead? Well, first of all, despite the fact that he went for an early expand with no tech and then lost the expand with no tech and then had to begin his tech, sOs is ahead in the ground attack upgrade when compared to Hero that doesn't even have his forge done yet. sOs also with this blink play, and upon scouting with the first hallucinated Phoenix, is going to use a second hallucinated Phoenix to try to do a little bit of damage to the economy. And there it is. 4 stalkers, 1-shot probes. So there's 1, there's 2, 3, 4. A little bit of misfiring could have killed 3 extra probes in this time. Being good and conservative, only losing 2 stalkers, but still dealing some damage. The Oracle popped back up into the main base. So what's sOs to do now? Well, Archon Immortal is the big mix, so let's get gas before we get anything else. Despite the fact that sOs was behind on this expansion, he is ahead on geysers. What a sicko. Alright, I gotta speed this up so that way we can even have time for taking questions. Those are the big moves that I really love, and we're going to see the stalkers come up. What's going to be the tech path choice? Well, most importantly of all, it's going to be scouting our opponent. We see a Twilight Council, an expansion. We're doing a little poking. We see some of these pylons go down. We obviously are going to do this move every time. Get charge and a Templar Archives first. But look at the aggressive scouting. Because we don't see any big signs of an attack, which would be gateways, another expand comes out. The Hallucinated Phoenix is the most important unit in the game in PvP. The Hallucinated Phoenix is the most important. You know what I see? No Colossus. I see no gateways. Great. So an expand goes down. So effing sick. Because we have Blink first, we can be much more aggressive with our movements on the map. Look, losing the watchtower and blindly charging the watchtower again. Not a problem, because we can easily blink away. There's a Templar Archives coming down first. Last thing to pop out, gateways. Gateways, 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 and we're going to do the exact same move that we did last game. Rather than use Colossus Immortal Archon as our core mix, we're just going to use Immortal Archon as our core mix. We're going to use the Warp Prism to try to warp into his main base to try to get him to have a bad composition that will be easily gobbled up by our Archons. But do keep in mind, you need a couple of Zealots in the main mix. First thing that SOS is going to do, build these assimilators. Despite the fact that Hero has an earlier expansion, he doesn't have as many assimilators. The aggressive tool, the Warp Prism. We can be more aggressive faster with this composition because we get our gateways up in larger numbers faster. Same move is going to be happening. Hallucinated Phoenix moving out with this big army on this backside. Those are all SOS's. Particularly good on this nice spread out open map. There's the recall from Hero. DT's morph in. Oh no, SOS has to scramble to stay alive. If you're playing, do the same scrambling. Scramble well. Level 3 attack just finished because SOS has been on point with those all game long. Why attack and not armor? Very simple. Immortals get +5 damage from that. The Archons get plus, is it 3 damage? I assume it's an insane amount of damage. What is the upgrade amount? It's huge. It's 3/4, I believe. It's just monstrous. I think it's 4 on biological and 3. No, it's 4. Is it 4 and 2? What is it again? I know it's +4 on the biological side because it starts as 35 and goes up to 47, but I don't know what it is on the damage side. I can't compute it. I only consider the biological side. +5 and +4 where it counts. Ta-da! So we see it's almost all Archon Immortal. Again, the more Archons, or the more Immortals, the better. 7's a nice money mixture amount. And it's just a very clean push from SOS as we look at this mix. 11 versus 7. That's what the early gas is getting you. Warp Prism continues to move in. We're seeing SOS do kind of the same thing that he did last game, just parking himself outside the front. And he doesn't go in, he just parks. These stalkers are being really sick. And he moves in for an engagement here. His zealots get stuck, but then again in this matchup in the late game, zealots don't matter. SOS tries to move in, time warp's really good. If you see 2 time warps, your opponent cannot possibly have a photon overcharge. That's also good. More Archons, more Archons, more Archons. That gets killed off, etc., 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 etc. SOS kind of has a slight lead. And then here's what I talk about the one bad engagement can lose you the game. SOS has all his Archons in the front, all his Immortals in the back. The only thing that's out of place is the Zealots. Watch this engagement. This is one of the sexiest things I've ever seen. The hold position engagement. Just hits H here. And just sits. Just sits. Sits. Guardian Shield sits. Kills that off. Sits. Has way the better concave. Sits. 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 And retreat. Retreat. Nice. Just sat there, man. What a boss. Can easily pull his whole army back to deal with this. To note, it's 100 seconds to build a Nexus. You get 120 gas a minute out of this. 120 times 2 is 240. Plus the little extra 40 seconds is going to be over 300 gas. It's 360-ish, which is an Archon. If you kill your opponent's Nexus, you gain an Archon worth of gas. And a whole slew of extra minerals. I think it's something like 1,600, 1,400, something like that. Now, SOS's move up to this was just to see if there's nothing there, he engages. There was something there, so SOS just pulled back. Only at wide angles does Zealot Archon actually wish to engage. So in this spot, it's a good engage. The Warp Prism is being used in to get behind the Immortals to warp in Zealots behind them. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. We can only take 3 questions because then I have to go get a parking permit because I got a ticket yesterday. From Tyler, let me see here. From Tyler491, who says, Day 9, what response will we typically see from sOs if we saw more aggression from Hero in the early mid-game on the Akalon Waste map? Also, aside from not seeing the Zealot early in the match, what indicators would he be looking for to see the Hero is playing passively? The easiest thing to check for passive play is no additional gateways beyond 3 and tech structures. Particularly the Twilight Council and the Robo. Or if he went for Twilight Council early, it would be a Forge or a Templar Archives. If you see your opponent going for something like, you know, oh, hi, kitty. Hello, kitty. If your opponent going for those tech choices, then you can easily expand and tech yourself. Again, with Hallucinated Phoenix. If you see 5 gateways, Chrono Boost out Immortals. Build 2 more gateways of your own. Do like a warping round of like some Zealots. That's about it. That's what I would look for. Oh, from Tomato Andrew. Day 9 in the last game, what would you say is the right balance of Archons and Immortals? How to keep these balances relatively even throughout? It's really easy because it's not even a proportion. Just keep building Immortals until you hit like 7 or 8. And with any of your leftover gas, go Archon. There you go. Done. Cool. So let's say you lost your whole army and you have like 1 Immortal. Just keep making Archons and Immortals based on that rule. There you go. So easy. Hi Hernia asks if I can mimic any other instrument than the trumpet. Probably. Alright, let's take some other questions. Last question. From Lotacopter how does someone start to get into the SC2 competitive scene having never played Brood War or Wings of Liberty? Here we go. First and foremost, begin to play and enjoy the game. And I will suggest the most enjoyable formats. 4v4, arcade, single player. If you want someone to play with, post right here in the chat over at twitch.tv/day9tv. Find some folks to play with. They're all friendly and fun and like to have a good time. Play with them, and then with those buddies that you form, or even of your own volition, go watch a tournament. Again, go to twitch.tv/day9tv. The chat is always watching tournaments, hanging out, being awesome. Some of the real legends of the chat. Pixel Knight, Cadred, Trumpet M, Cool, Here a Lot, Lady LaFice. We got Fate T. Oh, Maynard's here. What's going on, Maynard? Drodo, of course. We got Lady LiquidHero and Lady Lanest. Covert Muffin, Sacred Sun, Wraith Dagger. All these guys here all the time. Oh, Apocalypse Emo, Quick Draw as well. Little Big 11, Martine Mumbles. What's going down? Moist Snail Poop. Flea Hastings. God, you guys are here every day. How? I'm gonna assume it's because my entertainment value is paramount, but honestly, a lot of it's because of the community, right? Find some of these folks, watch some games with them, hang out, have a good time, and then begin to wean off the number of players in your fun game from 4v4 to a 3v3, from 3v3 to 2v2, and eventually begin playing your very first 1v1. 1v1 is really hard and very unforgiving and is the most crisp and delightful lesson of learning about yourself that you can learn in your entire life. You will never learn more about yourself faster than if you play a difficult, unforgiving game like StarCraft 2 competitively. You learn when you get angry, how you react to your anger. You learn when you fall apart under tension. You learn when you focused best. You get that thrill, and you get to see how you react when you've really achieved something. It's amazing. You get to face being nervous. It's so good. It's the greatest thing ever. The deepest reward. So yeah. Start having fun, hanging out, watching some tourneys. Get into it, meet people. Without people, things are always worse. I'm never going to be like, play it in isolation. Alright. I'm really in the mood to play some twos, so I think I'm going to go play some twos. Without any further ados, I'm going to go get my parking pass and play some twos. Guys, have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow for day 9's day off. I'm going to be playing some game for 6 or 7 or 8 hours. I don't even know what.